I have trouble. Yeah, big game for both of these teams. Look, it's, you know, maybe not gone exactly to plan so far at the Major, but this is the time. This is the time. You know, but G2 are no strangers to it. 2023. Anybody remember a little lower bracket run that they had? You know, they know what it's all about. They know, you know, what it takes to dig themselves out of a problem. And Dplus Kia, I think, are going to be up against it a little bit today. They've certainly got the players, they've got the ability. They've been hit and miss, I would say, at the tournament so far. Great performance against Furia, and then it's been a little bit wobbly otherwise.
It has, yeah. And I think for G2, we also can't forget that they got knocked out very famously at a Major about a year and a half ago by FearX, one of the first teams to go home. So you might look at Dplus Kia and say, oh, it's not an APAC team, but we have seen G2 be eliminated by a team like that early on. And we were talking a bit yesterday about G2 at this tournament, the inconsistency that we've seen, that up and down nature of it. But I did message Doki earlier, and I was like, you know, how you guys feeling today versus previous days? He's like, yeah, feeling good actually and ready for this one. It's all good feeling ready until the other team smacks you in the face with the right hook, and before you know it, you've got no idea where you are or what is going on. So for their sake, I hope they're prepped and ready, because Dplus Kia are also going to be up for this. Neither team wants to go home today.
No, not at all. You know, it's an interesting aside. I've met up with Stompen a couple of times. We've done.
Oh, you're good mates, are you now?
Not a big thing. I just call him Zach, but it's, you know, it's not a big thing. I've met up with him a couple of times, you know, gone up to see him and Doki. You know, if you've watched EML, you've probably seen the content go out where, you know, I've had these opportunities, and believe me, that guy lives for the opportunity to get onto stage to play Siege. Like, I spoke to him, you know, before in his very first stage, and it was basically all we spoke about. That's where I want to be. I want to be on big stages, want to be in grand finals. You know, they did that in EWC. I spoke to him after that, and I said, you know, how did you feel about that? Was there any nerves there or anything? No, not at all. You know, maybe the first 10 minutes, but as soon as I'd been, like, it was where I'm supposed to be. Like, that's where I should be. And so, you know, they've got these players, and, you know, Stomp, they're not a one-man team. Stomper's not the only one, but, you know, that is a mentality, I think, that goes throughout this team, and that's what's, I think, going to make them very difficult to beat today. And I mean, we're starting on bang. G2 on bang. They're pretty good.
It's slipped down the rankings for them in terms of preference quite a bit lately, and when I look at a team that comes to a map like this, Dplus Kia for them is not a map they love playing. You're bringing G2 to this map for a reason, because you feel you have the answers to be able to counter them. They've seen G2 play it 10 times over the last 6 months. There's a lot to look back on. You know, played it yesterday against BDS is a great example. Equally, Furia, that game that Dplus Kia had against Furia was the win for Dplus Kia early on this exact map. So, heaven knows which way it builds out, but to start things off, Alamar is charging down on this blitz. Can't quite find his man, though. Nia's just managed to slip away through the nets. Yeah,
he's done well there as the Army to survive. You don't want to be losing that operator too early. Keep your barricades going with them, of course. But Alamau maybe missing a little bit of an opportunity for an early start there. Doki has got himself in at top square as well. Stompen joining him sort of underneath on lower square. So G2 taking good, quick control of the map. If we have a look across the positions of Dplus Kia, they are all back in the basement now. So G2, within a minute, full map control and can start working on those hatches and on softening up the site.
Yeah, really had Alamar be the one that steps forward and puts pressure on there too. Like, he was the one working in relatively solo, of course assisted by the team as far as things like drones go, but did put enough pressure on to force them back, which does give them, as you've mentioned, a lot of time to work with here, to get hatches opened up, to start looking at what's going on downstairs. Yeah, Dplus Kia, nothing wrong with slipping back at this point, because now what you want to do is play behind all this utility. The C4s have got in back pocket. There's 2 of them. They've got a couple more smokes. You've now got glow canisters sat on site. There's no twitch on the side of G2 to go through and start clearing out those Vulcan canisters. So there's still a lot for them to do. You might look at it and go 75 seconds, loads of time. It really ain't that much on bank basement, Tim.
The problem that Foles has got here, he's playing behind those Toxic Babe canisters, but he's got no other support. There you go. Dies quite easily. And there's no Jaeger, there's no Womai, there's nothing to help him stay on those stairs. No deployable shield. You know, we see that done sometimes, but it does make it easier to clear. A nice double coming in for G2. Great start for them. 5 versus 3 now. They've got 45 seconds. Both hatches are open. This really should be a G2 round now. They just need to get themselves into position. Blaz has the fuser in hand, down in server, work it in, get that plant down on the ground, make sure you don't get hit on the main stairs flank, but they're not going to, because Loira's sat there watching it.
Can they make use of this? They might be able to, actually. I'm sure they'll realise very quickly it's going down behind it, and there are still 2 C4s in back pocket, but they're trying to make it happen. C4, no, expecting it to get ripped, but Stompin is on a tear. Mighty had the C4 in hand ready to go, but has been picked off. Levy can do almost nothing here. This one's going to get finished off by the looks of it, Tim, and there is very little that Dplus Kia can do to fight back. Speaking of fighting, it feels like they really haven't offered any of it in this first round.
Bullets managed to get up above. I think he's been allowed because Lyra went elsewhere. Stompin manages to win the kill up the hatch. And, you know, I spoke about him coming into that round for a reason, because Stompin plays great on bank. We've seen aces from him on bank. It's just a map that he seems to love, and he's come in and got, you know, a big start there for his team as well. You know, I don't think G2 could ask for better, really, there.
No, really good stuff. And again, Stompin with a 4K to kick it off.
Beautiful.
What you saw there at the very start as well, this play around server, is typically why you see the player on stairs playing their life. Their goal is to waste as much time as they can. If you can get a kill, brilliant. But you're there to draw on utility, to chew through drones, to waste time so those on site can then stall out with C4s and any other manner of device they've then got to hold things down. Part of the problem, and I call it a problem because I understand why you try and do it, and I've wondered it myself a few times, is Niers on the Azami has then tried to play inside of CCTV. He's trying to be able to support the player on stairs so he can retreat back towards site, but it was dead simple. Stompin, he sits on the square hatch, gets rid of the Azami. Great first kill, and now there's a player with zero support, completely isolated on blue stairs itself. Second easy kill for Stompin, a 5v3, and although you've got a bit of utility to work through, G2 just put the pressure on. Alamau was inside of gold as the plant was going down, for example. They made that look so easy, and Dplus Kia, I really hope this isn't another day where we don't see them offering any kind of fight. They need to get up in G2's face, and you've got to disrupt them early on. If you let these guys get around the site as 5 and get ready to execute, very good chance they're going to win the execute tip.
Going up to top floor for Dplus Kia's second site there. Mirror is available but has not been picked. I always love to see the mirror when available. Inside a janitor, we've seen it a million times. It's just such a strong play to deny anything coming in from those windows. Any plant, it just gives a real problem for teams on the attack to deal with. That's not going to be the case. Levitt is in position in there, but again, you've got Lyra underneath, and as soon as they know which player it is, I think they'll make an educated guess that it's the smoke that's going to be in there. If he's got the track available, he does. You can see on the left of your screen, those 4 icons are the operators that have been spotted out and that it is possible for Deimos to track. If he goes to that smoke, he's going to light him up. He's
playing off to the hard side though, Levy. He's not sat behind the reinforcement where you typically expect him, but the information sometimes is all you really need. Expecting to find him elsewhere, and instead he's tucked off a little bit deeper, and that's Niers on the Azami, who they want to chew through, so we can't keep on dropping down these Kiba barriers for now, ignoring Levy, who's inside of Janitor, playing on that smoke. But they can make him move at some point, and with Alamau especially running around on that Grim, he will be moved at some point. It's only a matter of when. Yeah,
Lyra has moved on the Deimos up to top square to try and start putting some pressure on from there, whilst Dplus Kia continue to cycle those cams and just try and get a feel of anything that's going on. But this is the battle, really. It's Azami in stock, and it is Levitt inside a smoke. How about that? Niers just absolutely slams Lyra with a one-tap around the corner. Blaz onto Bullet, bringing us to a 4v4.
I think Dirk has obviously requested a rehost, maybe stuck on the rappel there, not too sure, but we'll find out soon. For now, the round plays on, running into a Nomad air jab, not really the best way to be stealthy as you try and move yourself back across this top floor. Has gone off though and pushed the players back. For now, all of these players on the side of Dplus Kia quite dug down to the south. G2 still got all this window control. Stompin trying to make something happen here from square as well. And now we're going into him. Here comes the push.
It's going to be Doki looking to push forward and take the fights to begin with, opening up barricades, gets the man at elevator. They're Stompin with another onto Mitty 4 versus 2 as G2 collapse here. Stompin's trying to work his way in around Janitor. There's another...
Mate,
the reactions of that as an old man does, I can only dream. He barely saw a hair on his head before he'd pulled the trigger. Absolutely beautiful stuff.
See, the rest of us call that a quick peek. To Stompin, it's a slow peek. That was unreal reaction times. Beautiful stuff and a very comfortable second round for them. G2 speed running extremely comfortably so far.
I could only dream, Des. I could only dream. It'd have peeked me twice before I'd shot anything.
You know what I hate? Like when I play Siege, it's the thing that gets me, or any shooter really, is I feel in the moment that I've been, like someone's Ferrari peeked me. Like I just had no chance of winning that gunfight.
Then you watch it.
You watch the replay, I'm like, bro, I saw him for a second and a half. Yeah. It is the most depressing thing in the world. And when you see something like that happen, you're just reminded about how far away you are from players like this. It's terrifying. As we'll see on the replay now in a moment as well.
Just remember that if you're watching it.
Just look. If you look. We ready? Come on, Levy.
I mean,
you can't even say this like a ping or something like that. We're on land, there's no ping.
There's an element of sound there. He might have heard the footsteps of him like rushing up towards the door.
Come on, Tim.
But no, I'm backing it. I'm backing him there because there is an element of sound there. But he doesn't shoot until he's seen him. It's after he sees the quick peek that he shoots. So it is based on the fact that he's seen him. Absolutely, it's just like I said. Yeah. He'd have peeked me at least 2 or 3 times before I took a shot there. But if you're watching and you ever die to me in rank, just remember my reaction time is about 8 seconds.
And you can only see half the screen.
That's really on you.
Yeah. Just come from his left-hand side and you'll be completely fine. It's not a problem. Back down to the basement, then Tim Dplus Kia not wanting to go to an off-site and do the typical rotation you might see teams employ, which is where you'll play 3 different sites, regardless of outcome, win or loss. Then I go back down to what is one of the best defensive sites in the game. The stall potential down here is excellent, but G2, they're coming in with a different game plan, Tim. Lawyer's working his way in through Garage here on the Nook. Be a nice little backstab for them. Of course, got to be mindful that when that gadget is active, it can be seen by Nears, not by Bullet, admittedly, but can be seen otherwise.
This is why I really wouldn't have picked Bank to play against G2. I know, as you've said, Des, that they've, it's dropped down in their preference. They don't play it as much these days, and look,
he's here.
They're still so good on it. Lyra is managing to get up there. There's going to be no idea. The challenge is coming in from the Deimos on the opposite side as well. They now know, but it's too late. Foles gets taken out. Lyra can just continue lurking around. He's waiting for anybody trying to push back down Marble to give some support. Doesn't find the second as Nears takes him out, but does have a little bit of damage traded onto the Solis. 4v4. 4v3 as Nears manages to get another. You feel like G2 just need to take a step back here, to put off the gas and slow down.
The slight problem they had was Blaz wasn't inside dirt, ready to come pushing with the diffuser. They had different plans elsewhere. I believe he was up on window repel for a while, has then got off, gone towards entrance, tried to push up through dirt. But while he's doing that, Dplus Kia have done the right thing. They've mobilized. They haven't let G2 hold on to these 2 key positions they had. Inside goal, which is where Stomping was, and of course seeing Lyra working his way down main stairs, or up main stairs from Garage at that point. It was good to respond, and that has then forced G2 to say, okay, forget about it. We don't have the advantage in dirt anymore. Let's rotate away back towards lobby as we originally planned and make a more standard hit work.
Track is going to be active on Bullet, so they know that he's just been chased down by Marble Stairs. Alamau actually picks up Mitty at the same time as tracking Bullet. He's not even going to be chasing the Valkyrie. 3 versus 3 as G2 managed to level things up. Nears is still in sight on the Solis, so can at least be feeding a bit of intel back in towards his team. The possibility is there. He'll certainly know if a plant is going down, but he needs to be careful with Doki on the IQ. They've read into that Solis pick, and they will see exactly where Nears is located. Alamau is on low health as well, so a little bit of caution needed from him. But with the droning going on, I would suggest that G2 are going to be looking towards that server plant. Blaz is currently on the server hatch.
Absolutely. I was really curious about who these teams have to play tomorrow based on the outcome, and there's still a few more variables on the go, and we need to see the outcome, of course, of the other game that is currently taking place. Got FaZe, I believe it is, coming up against, remind me who it is, Tim, on the other side. FaZe versus BDS taking place over there, but time's starting to whittle down here, Tim. 10 seconds to go. Got to make the drop happen at some point, but Doki's gone down. That is not ideal. Alamau with a 1 HP to his name. They see him on the bulletproof, gets away with at least 1, but sprayed down by Nears, who's had a wonderful round, Tim. 4 for himself, make it 4. In fact, 3 for himself, then 4 overall. Wonderful round from Nears to get them on the board.
Yeah, great round from the Solis there. He's played it brilliantly. The most important thing he did was that first kill onto Lyra. He goes in, Lyra on the knock, manages to get the kill across site, and then could have been a real nuisance going into the rest of that round. But Nears clearing him out just really gave a lot of space for Dplus Kia, especially with Stomping being cleared out of gold at the same time. It meant that G2 were then kind of fishing round, looking for opportunities, hoping something would present itself, but it never really did, and that's down to the discipline of Dplus Kia in that situation. So 2-1, but I think G2 will come away the happier of those 2 teams to kick things off.
And in case you aren't tracking what's going on over on our other stream, by the way, first map has just ended. It was 7-2 to FaZe on Clubhouse over BDS. So maybe Team FaZe have finally woken up, because our comments over the last couple of days have been they do not look like the FaZe that we...
They've not looked like themselves, no?
Absolutely. I mean, if G2 also win this game, then tomorrow you'd have G2 against Weibo, you'd have BDS coming up against NIP, and W7M against Fury. That already feels like a crazy game, W7M Fury. And God, 2 of the titans of the region.
Also remember that one of them's going to go home.
That's it, yeah. One gets promoted, one loses and goes home. Tomorrow it really is Elimination Tuesday. I had to check what day of the week it was then.
Honestly, I have no idea what day of the week. Are we still in November?
If we are, believe it or not, we are still there. We are still there.
Not a clue.
10 seconds to insertion.
All right.
Can't see a calendar. I've lost my glasses.
Can't see much, to be honest with you, mate. Bit stuck on that front. Up to the top floor we go again. So again, sticking to these 2 primary sites you've seen, basement, top floor, basement, and then back to the top floor. To win this one, They won't be able to play either downstairs or upstairs. Again, we'll have to go towards that offsite, but that assumes, of course, they can get the win. I imagine we'll see more of the same from G2. 3, maybe 4 players upon the window repels, putting pressure inside the site itself. Got the Capital here, which normally is what you'll see to help deal with the player inside a Janitor. Top of that reinforced wall can be shot open, pop a fireball over the top, and they have to move away normally into the waiting arms or an angle being watched by a player on G2. So we'll see how effectively they can do that. I'm sure we're going to see Dplus Kia with some ideas of their own to make sure that can't quite go as smoothly as it sounds.
Yeah, there's nobody playing inside of Janitor at the minute. That's the play from Dplus Kia. Levy's on like the other side of the rotate, so he's in meeting and he can move back in quickly to Janitor, but he's not playing in there at the minute. I think that's really smart. You kind of lure in, bait a little bit of that utility, but how about this? Grim just getting aggressive. Stomping goes right on into sight, sees an opportunity to take a bit of space, and yeah, I'll have that, thank you very much. And I don't know if Dplus Kia are aware of this. If they're not, they could be in for a big surprise.
Don't think they are, and that's also sprung Element into action inside a lobby. He's now coming up, but he's got to win the challenge at the top on elevators. Doesn't get away with it. Stomping at least gets rid of Mighty. So it's a 1-for-1. A little bit of ground gained, a little bit lost at the same time. But they haven't got lobby pressure here, except from Blaz on that Habana. Looking to do a little bit of work at range. Of course, put the threat down, but they've still got elevator control they've got to fight for. They've got long deaths they need to work on as well. Stomping in dangerous territory here.
His movement's just been so slippery, though, to get around there, fighting so many different angles, keeping himself out of the toxic base smoke. It's been great. He continues the fight on elevator. He needs to be careful. His life is being chipped away, but he's just like a wasp in the room at the minute, or a bee, more precisely. How do you play against it? They're all focusing on him, and it's giving space elsewhere. Lyra manages to get the kill. Doki picks up one, Stomping in the middle, and G2 are in command.
Doki going big from square as well. 2 kills for himself on that side of the map, and like you say, it's the pressure that starts building up. We also had a second player, Blaz, I believe, working his way up on Spiral. Pressure being applied by him. Dplus Kia just buckle in front of that. And Doki has revealed in all chat by now. Everyone will love to hear this one. Zach repelled him by accident. He didn't mean to do it, Tim, but it worked.
It looked good.
Yeah. Looked like he was large and in charge. Turns out it was a mistake.
It looked good. Look, the way that, purposeful or not, the actions that he took once he was there were absolutely spot on. As I said, like playing with a wasp in the room, you could see that Dplus Kia were just continuously having to react to him from different angles, and it just created a ton of space. And G2 were then able to push in and support him from elsewhere. It worked. Great stuff.
Really good stuff. They look great on that top floor, of course, look great on the first attack downstairs. We are not going to repeat top floor though, Tim. We're stepping to the offsite. So next round, we'll probably go back down to the basement to close out the half. It's going to be staff and open to see how things go here in round 5. I imagine a bit more of the same from G2. You typically need that vertical control. Lots of soft flooring that you can rip up. I can't imagine Dplus Kia want to give away that ground for free. There are 3 players currently up on that second floor looking to lock it down and defend it, similar to what you've just seen in the previous round, but not quite as heavy as we saw prior.
Okay then, the problem that Dplus Kia particularly face here is that G2 are on the attack, and if they get too far ahead, I would imagine they're going to close it out quite easily once they get onto the defense. So Dplus Kia, I think, need these next 2 rounds. They need to level it up at 3-3 to give themselves a chance. We're going to see the electrical wall opened up. That's also going to detonate one of those Vulcan canisters. So Lyra now has the freedom to just hold that angle through sight, and this is something that G2 have done well. We've seen it so far from them, where they'll kind of post up and they'll just hold a long angle for ages, and they straight away they've got an angle through sight, and Dplus Kia just can't rotate anywhere, and then you see them start dying. There you go, Doki manages to pick up bullet, and Lyra will pick somebody up in a second. They just carving sight up fantastically.
I want to say this is years off towards it. I think it's Falls that's close. Yeah, he's getting shot from elsewhere at this point. He's like, God, where the hell are they coming from? Where are the bullets arriving from? From downstairs, to my left, everywhere. Manages to get stomping, but is caught out a second later. There's a bit of a trade back and forth. Falls still on his backside. A 3 versus 2 breaking out for G2 here in rapid time. Not quite finishing the man off. Got to win that one, Doki, and sure enough he does. Makes it 4 in the round. Another huge multi-kill for G2. Puts them quite far in the lead, Tim. 4-1.
That last kill from Doki was disgusting. Straight through into archives. Just picked up the head of the man next to one of the shelves of filing and paperwork, and he filed his paperwork and put him in the ground, and that's going to be G2 going 4-1 up. And honestly, this is the best I've seen G2 look so far. I think there's an element of Dplus Kia maybe not
offering too much.
Yeah, not offering too much in there. We've got to say that. But I think G2, as I always say, you know what I'm going to say? You can only beat what's in front of you. And G2 are doing that right now. And they're doing it with ease.
16 and 3.
They've got something to spare.
Yeah, 16 and 3 between Doki and Stompin right now. They are running the show. 3-0 on entry. Just... It's all down to those boys at the moment, large and in charge. Does this spin the way he gets on the second player in a second? This first one was a bit messy.
It's this second one, it's beautiful.
Yeah, the last one's a beautiful one. There you go, just bam, hello, goodbye. Nothing more to read.
Come on, fucking go! Holy shit!
I love his Scottish accent when he swears.
5 seconds to insertion.
Because it's not even saying shit, he's saying shit. Holy shit. Brilliant.
Attacker's objective is to
Not surprised at all
locate a bomb
because
and
that was a
defuse it.
pretty great play. Another great round for G2. 4-on-1. Even if we see Dplus Kia win this next round, it's still G2 going onto their defense with a good amount of margin over their opponents. And truthfully, Tim, I'd be shocked if they can't find their way through this round. Last time it came down to a Nia's clutch. That's where he found the 5 kills that he's currently sat on. I believe 4 was what he got in the round. Can you rely on lightning striking twice? Admittedly, it has for G2. Stompin's at a 4K, Doki's at a 4K. Who's going to be next in round 6?
Nia's at present is defending is actually the silhouette that you could see in the background there. He's currently inside of open and cafeteria. He's the one that's playing there. They do spot one up on the top floor. There is actually a second there as well. Levy's going to manage to find Blaz. Bullet doubles down and picks up Doki. Great start from Dplus Kia. They have got themselves out into the map. They've said, you know what? We need to take the fight to G2. We need to get aggressive. We can't let them breathe. We can't let them get these angles.
Oh, come on! Not again! Come on now, Stompin. Pack it in.
He's just got a sense on another level. His game sense is on a level that might never have been seen before.
Granted, a preemptive spray more than anything but Nia's finally shuts down the king. 4 versus 2. Dplus Kia actually looking pretty good here, Tim. As long as they can get themselves back on site, because no one's here right now. Site is empty.
Get that diffuser down now.
Yeah, is it time? Has he got a bit of cover? I don't think he... Not quite enough cover. There's players on hatches, players coming down main stairs. It would have been tough. Laura with it all to do, and unfortunately, this one looks to be going the way of Dplus Kia, but Tim at least gives them a bit of breathing room when they switch onto the attack.
Yeah, it does. I think, you know, this has been a much better round. Oh, hang on a minute.
Okay, calm down.
Whoa.
I asked who's going to be the hero, Tim.
Lyra's going to get a one. Oh, I was going to say, I'm sure there was a second one at top blue. Lyra brings a 1v4, very nearly to a 1v1, but does get picked up at the end. And that's going to be a 4-2 half, which I think, given that they were on the attack, G2 are going to be the happiest with. Dplus Kia will certainly have wanted more defensive rounds there. G2 now, they need to lock one site down and it guarantees them overtime. It's, you know, it shouldn't be a huge job for them, but we say that, and you never know when it turns around.
Okay, over we switch, and our bans are coming on through. Castle first taken away by Dplus Kia. Monty by the other side, not too surprised. He's seen quite a lot of shield play overall. Alamar, of course, the one that you turn to and look at and say, yep, definitely the shield player on this side. He's done a lot of work with Monty and Blitz over the days. Will the Blitz also follow through? No, Maverick going and Smoke. Interesting. Okay. So I actually quite like that as a play here, because you imagine G2, especially downstairs, have got their setup that relies on running Smoke, C4s, all the rest of it. You're at least taking away one layer of that frustrating defense that a team that's a little bit slow on the attack would typically get frustrated by. Bring along the Twitch. That'll help you deal with things like the Goyo canisters, but Smoke being taken away does take quite a bit of strength off G2.
Just means that we're going to see Tachanka instead. Blaz is going to be the one to bring him along. We've seen a number of players on G2 try to use the Tachanka in this situation and struggle with the lineup. Sometimes you've got to be able to hit that lineup, but I've spoken at length about this Tachanka defense before. The big problem with the Tachanka defense is it's better than Smoke. You can deny for longer, you can do more damage quicker than Smoke, but the big problem is this whole defense needs to focus around keeping Tachanka safe. And for example, you know, he doesn't have a deployable shield. They haven't brought one along. So already that's going to be Blaz being exposed. If he wants to put those Shumiko launcher canisters into the default plant spot, it's going to be difficult for him to do that with a great degree of safety. So there's a lot of work to be done by G2 here to make sure that Blaz stays safe in the core of this defense.
Tim absolutely loves talking about this, so we'll see how it goes. More looking towards Mighty as well, playing on the Rauro. He's been a little bit over the last few days to mixed use and also mixed success, I think is pretty fair to say. We've seen teams use it on border to ensure they can open up customs and supply wall. Put it on the doorway, put an exothermic on the left-hand side, it opens up the wall on the other side of things. We've seen a couple of attempts on executes using the Raura. I would say it's a very, very limited success. So I hope they've got a good game plan in mind, and I can only expect that it's going to pair up with that Ying for them to try and overwhelm G2 on the other side. Lyra, careful.
Lyra's going to get himself back down marble stairs. Is he going to go all the way? Not for the time being. He's being chased though. Needs to be careful because Mitty's looking to get down there behind him and get aggressive. Lyra is only half health, so at this point would be easy pickings potentially. But the challenge is not going to come. Mitty has backed off. Nias is with him. I think Dplus Kia at this point are happy that they've got that top floor control and they can start working their way down towards square. I think the pressure is going to look towards server, which G2 have given them. So, you know, I think that'd be a smart play, really. Get yourself blue stairs, get yourself server. It's been given to you. You don't need to expend anything for it.
This is what I was speaking about for border, but also going to probably make use of it here as well. Exothermic on the single door will hit the hatch on the other side. So when you're looking at this and seeing, okay, Maverick is fanned away, we've left Kaid open. Of course, they're going to play it. How can we deal with that? Well, this is a great way of doing it. Making use of the Raura to use that assisted opening. However, one of those exothermics has been fried off Tim. Where did they shoot it from?
It was Kaid tricked, I think.
Would it have gone through?
Metal.
This is really testing my knowledge at this point as to how they managed to deal with that so easily.
Okay, yeah, no, it was the Tuberau.
Was the door opened up somewhere?
Yes,
or?
the Tuberau charge, I think, interacted
with
the
yeah,
door.
Of course, forces it, yeah, okay.
Yeah, forced it open.
That's very interesting. So
accidental, mate.
Counters on counters here. Look, and we'll probably see it happen again now as well, right? We've still got
not sure how aware of it they will have been. I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe Doki can hear that from below.
Doki's in CC.
We're about to see, because if he does it again, then...
No, he's not. That's a shame. That is a real shame. But I'm pretty sure that's exactly what happened. They're still going to see C4 kill off the back of it, and that's what you're looking for, really.
Yeah, manages to get the kill, and that's going to be advantage G2 once again. 35 seconds left to go, and the problem for Dplus Kia here is they're not really in a position to think about putting this diffuser down yet. Nias takes a ton of damage going in. We see the Shumika launcher starting to go into that default spot as well. Doki's getting involved, sending this auto canister just to help further, and now it's a case for G2 of throw utility at it, but falls. He's going to drop the hatch, and he's going to plant in the smoke. He might get away with this because G2 have no idea. Doki's just jumped right over the top of him, Des! They didn't have a clue!
Oh, no,
Blaz is going to take him out! It's turned into a nightmare for G2!
And falls. He's done all he needs to, Tim. 2 kills inside of sight, and just like that, the round has fallen apart. It looks so good for G2, but for Dplus Kia, it looked even better. Fascinating round overall. Brilliant stuff.
He's going to be fuming when he sees that back. He literally vaults over the top of the planter.
Oh.
He just vaults clean over
and then
the top
gets burnt to a crisp by his teammate.
Oh, dearie me. It all went wrong. G2, they had it. They'd wasted 2 minutes 35, and, you know, Dplus Kia had to drop the hatch and just go for it inside of the smokes. But they made it work. A great response from them on the attack.
Yeah, I do love coming back to the use of the Raura as well to try and open up the electrified hatch.
Oh no, it was just that. It was just before that it had happened.
They must have known that he was inside.
Vaulted over the top of him.
But yeah, coming back to the tech again, it's layers upon layers, starting in the banning phase here as well. With the Maverick ban, letting Kaid be open. Like Dplus Kia feel real smart. Yeah, okay, we've got Kaid open, but we can deal with that. We've got a Raura play. Then the Tuberau to come through as a response to that from Doki. Wonderful way of layering up, again, from bans through to the picks, through to the exact minutiae of the round itself was absolutely wonderful stuff. Almost the way that Doki got suckered away off towards server, expecting not to see another exothermic come on through. It was almost like a double away where we had the Thermite for a second run away from trying to open up that doorway out towards square, and then double backed on himself. Doki not expecting it, wasn't quite there in time, but still gets a kill with the C4. Wonderful little bit of tech we've seen there, and definitely the first time I've seen it in the game, Tim.
Okay then.
Raura again, but no Thermite.
Alamo is going to be put. So if you remember previously on the top floor defense when Dplus Kia were up there, I spoke about the mirror playing inside of Janitor. It was something they chose not to do. Alamo has brought the mirror along, so let's see how that pans out, how much of a difference that makes. We've also got the Echo on the side of G2, so they're going to have those yokai drones to play behind as well, and there's an awful lot of plant denial here. Dplus Kia are going to have to do a lot of work. I'm just looking across the lineup and I'm wondering who's going to deal with those mirror windows. It's going to fall to Ace primarily, I would imagine, given what we've got on there. There's no Ashe, there's no Carly, there's no Buck, there's no Deimos. You know, there's nothing like that to be able to deal with that mirror window setup. So it's going to be down to Falls. Needs to get those Selmas into the right place if that's the plan.
They could just smoke it off making use of Bullet here, because with the Raura gadgetry too, you have the ability to restrict off the number of angles that it can potentially control. More on this side up here, to be fair, with this main site that you're looking at now, you're relying very much on the Yokais to do the work for you once you've been dealt with from below. And that's exactly why Mighty's now underneath, clearing those away. They have the ability to get some vertical pressure down too. Look at this. Sees two players outside and is almost saying, yeah, go on then. You're feeling it, Loira. Let's make it happen.
There goes the Selmas, as expected, onto the mirror window, at least on the first, and then send the smoke in so that you can't shoot the Selma off, or you would need to be very lucky. But the first one is detonated, so that should be mirror window gone. Second one will be detonating now. That is really well done by Dplus Kia.
Done enough to be able to break some holes into Janitor, but not enough that they can't still play in there. Alamal holding tight. Falls getting rid of Loira at least. Reloading. He was sat downstairs on blue stairs and started to work his way up, but Falls has just had that watch on him from the window. Well delivered so far. Dplus Kia, a man advantage.
Now they need to make that pay. There's 3 of them on the window, which does mean they are still a little bit short-handed inside. Alamau is going to take some damage and then be picked up by Falls. He was forced to move and he was spotted out from the window. Beautiful stuff. Doki manages to pick him up in a trade though. 3v4 G2 holding on. Doki goes big again, takes down Nears. 3 versus 3, and Stompin's moved in and retaken that janitor position. So back to the drawing board for Dplus Kia. Those gains have been lost.
It's a real race to the top between Stompin and Doki. Doki's now jumped over him again, up to 11 kills here, and Stompin hits the deck, sprayed at range, and a nade right behind him. He's dead to right, surely, but no, just out of range. Doki, ace or bust at this point. Timmy's got to do it all by himself.
He's just waiting for that repel that he knows is coming. He finds the first. That becomes now a 1v2, but no! Mitty manages to win it out, and Dplus Kia level it up 4-4. It's game on!
There've been a couple of chances here, like Loira and now Doki, that have been left or got themselves into these 1v2s, and you think, oh, are they doing it? But to give full credit to Dplus Kia, they've always ensured the last 2 players get to sit in a bit of a trade-off between them. Let's have a listen in, though, to G2's tack timeout.
Shotgun, and we hold server, okay guys? Like Doki play the tubing server, we put 1 server in the 1 cage in the server, and 1 cage can be like tricking and like CC and head, okay guys? Other thing else, I think you play mute, play to hold, most time you can hold server, so like with the like the most time you can, and then after this, like remember, like if they don't open the hedge, let's use the rotate, like let's play below hedge, let's like use the rotate to the LG, remember, like do the rotate, okay? And also if like maybe it's time to bring the Warden, bro. I talk about the Warden, exactly. But like maybe they can do like backside now, okay? I think Band Ace, okay? Band Ace for other attacks.
Okay. I can play the Warden, but there's not gonna be traps.
There we go. So the very like tactical injection there from Romalia, but obviously the players responding to it. We spoke about it a bit the other day, and we were a bit nervous. Like, it's only really talking about fixing 1 round there, and you need more than 1 round to get it over the line. It's the more systemic things that you want to try and fix during tack timeouts, but if it works, then you can't knock them, Tim. Sometimes that 1 extra round might just prove to be enough, but as it stands, it's 4 apiece. Dplus Kia staying toe-to-toe with G2.
There's layers and levels, isn't there? You know, sometimes we saw it earlier, it is about getting that 1 round because it shifts the momentum, you know, and it plays into your mental game, and then you go on and win more.
We saw that in the series earlier,
yeah,
to be fair,
you know,
yeah.
so you really, sometimes, you know, absolutely, I think there's room for a coach to focus on, you know, I know if we get this 1 round, it's just gonna, you know, release the pressure, and off we'll go and win the rest of the map. So let's see if that is the case here. G2 will go to defend down in the basement, and I have the Tachanka. I think they were very close to this last time.
They were.
You know, it's a very unusual plant spot to go and plant on the rotation like that. Doki leaps over the top of him. There was a lot of weird and wonderful things happened in that round that may not be repeated this time by Dplus Kia.
Completely agree. Well, hopefully for G2 it's not quite as chaotic as it was, but for Dplus Kia you're also hoping it's a little more clear-cut. They don't want to leave it down to G2 making mistakes to see them over the line. They've got the Glaz on side here along with the Capital, so a lot of smokes to go around. Lots of pressure being put on Levy then to deliver in a way. The number of times that we'll see a Glaz brought along as part of a key execute, and then things just crumble in the early round, they lose the Glaz. You're then left picking up the pieces and trying to assemble an attack from it. Stompin's got a key role in the round too, because he's playing on the Warden. He is the main the individual on this team that can really anchor down and deal with this pressure coming in from the other side, given there are 6 smokes collectively. Well, more than 6, actually, if you wrap in the Capital. But now looking at 8 across the whole team. Kind of feels like that game plan of theirs is very well orchestrated, Tim. Oh, it's too easy.
Levy going to pick up Alamo. That's the Kaid God.
Those two have been at each other all game long.
They really have. Again, you know, it's worth remembering, of course, Alamo, one of our Brazilian players, grew up in the game playing for Team 1 out there and amongst others, and will have played against all of these guys plenty of times along the way. Oh, they know each other very, very well. 4 versus 5 then. G2 have got a job to do here. They need to dig deep as Nias works his way through. He's going to open that hatch on the elevator and then maybe pressure marble stairs. But this is one of the big problems they've got at the minute. Levy just sitting here out in garage. It really reduces the options for rotations, as you see.
Sniffing around there. They know that he's here because now Alaman's died, so they know exactly what's up. They know what the game plan is. It's Levy getting in a power position and playing around smokes. Probably still means you're going to see an execute focused inside of server itself, but down to that last 60, and there's been no push down here just yet. They're slowly starting to work on it, EMPing onto those beepers as well, so he can at least try and creep his way forward without being detected. I think Lawyer is still lurking around underneath, which might make that a little bit tentative. You want to try and push your way down there. Lawyer is ready. Pushing down slowly, by the looks of it, off towards our right-hand side, but as of yet, no kill being found.
Yeah, time could start to become a little bit of a problem for Dplus Kia here. They did show an ability last time they attacked onto this site to do it in short order. Nitro goes out, but it's not going to be successful. However, it's going to be shield versus shotgun. Who will come away the winner? Loira manages to take falls, but Mitty is there for the trade. 4 versus 3 now, but 30 seconds left on the clock. As Stompin manages to get 1. Stompin manages to get 2. And just like he has so often throughout stage 2, he manages to drag G2 back into this round. 3v2, they have a big advantage now. They know the last 2 are out in server, and there's no choice but to push through the single door. Doki says, Stompin, you got 2 kills. I can't have you going ahead of me. Here's 2 of my own.
I was going to say the smoke might actually prove to be a terrible idea for Dplus Kia there. Sure, you cover yourself on the plant for a second, but you can't then cover the planter. You give the ability for the Warden to step inside a site. You can't shoot C4s out of the air. You're just inviting chaos, but they drop it down. Ultimately, they pay the price. G2 ahead once again, up to 5 and 4. And I wonder if we're going to see an ace ban, Tim. Indeed we are.
I think we might.
And the Kaid on the other side, I think, is very, very fair, because although maybe they felt they had a way around it, as we saw from G2, the Tubarao was their response to this tricky little play they tried to make happen with the Raura.
Going to be heading to that 3rd choice site this time. Staff an open area. Just looking across the lineup, nothing too weird or wonderful from G2, pretty much as we would expect. Look, Dplus Kia, I think, you know, maybe going to look at that round and think they didn't do enough with it. They got a great entry kill, they created a little bit of space, but then they just got hurt by 2 players that are absolutely on fire at the minute. 26 kills at this point between Doki and Stomp, and Doki's leading 14-12. But it's one of them situations where, and I remember like way back in the day, I spoke to, it was actually Sexy Cake that I spoke to. You remember back in Croatia at OGAP, after they'd won that tournament, I spoke to him, and Neskin Parlu had an insane game where they got, I can't remember how many kills it was between the 2 of them, but it was extreme, put it that way. It was a classic Neskin Parlu combo performance. And I said to Sexy Cake, you know, like, what do you do with that as a team where you've got 2 of them like that? Do you just kind of play them off against each other and, like, you know, it becomes like a race to the top for numbers? He said, yeah, absolutely. If that's how it's going to be, then you just go for it. You know, just leave them to it and, you know, let them battle it out. And that seems to be really what's happening now, these 2. And they're pushing each other to greater heights. It's fantastic stuff.
The one thing I'll come back to, and I say this about G2 a lot, and I think it's what ultimately ends up kind of being their downfall, is the reliance on these hero plays. Someone dons the cape, you know, walks away with a 3K or a 4K in the round, pulls off a big hero moment. We saw Loira almost have one, Doki almost have one, they were handled, but there's been 3 across this game so far, you know, a 3K and a 4K from Doki and a 4K from Stompin. They have dragged rounds themselves over the line. That previous one, neither player really stepping up and getting a 3 or a 4, but it's undeniable the impact they've had as a pairing. And I just wonder, when they aren't on the day, if they aren't playing on the next map particularly well, for example, who do you then turn to?
Bullets.
He's his foot.
He sees him. He knows he's there. He's going to pre-fire him as he comes out, knowing the FNAT would signal it, and somehow Blaz gets away with it without too much damage, to be honest. I thought that was going to be far worse for him. Escapes with the little fadeaway drop down the elevator. Lyra picks up one. Alamo, another Mitioniers are off the board in a matter of heartbeats. That's your Ash. But more importantly, your Doka be gone. Have they got another plan for the execute?
This is where G2's composure now gets tested too. You're in a 5 versus 3. You've got no excuse to go crazy around the map here and be looking for solo kills, trying to be that hero that I spoke about. Just sit back and play behind your utility. You've got a couple of C4s to still make use of. You've got these mirror windows. FNAT's covering you. All the tools in the world to deal with whatever the other side might throw at you. And sure enough, Blaz has tucked in tight and dealt with Bullet, who's pushing forward very, very blind, not making use of those trackers and paying the price. Great shot from Levy, but still 4 more G2 players to go.
Yeah, it might just be too little too late there as he moves in. Does take the ground around elevators. G2 just need to be patient here. Don't overexpose yourself. Don't go looking for the kill. Don't peek around that bomb chassis and give him an opportunity. Just wait for him to come to you. You've got the metal detectors there. They're going to go off. You're going to know that he's pushing that double door. His support is in the shape of Falls, who is working his way in towards Tellers and Archives at the minute to try and get into a position to do something, but he's going to be challenged. As you can see, one of the G2 players is going to be stomping outside in Archives, and we know he's not going to make it easy. If anybody can make that SMG work, it's going to be him.
They're stuck in there, like I say. I'm going to go crazy here and go chasing after kills. Just let them come to you. They've got the right idea there. They know where 1 or 2 of these players are, and that's where it starts to get a bit risky. Going for the toe shots, but Stomping stepping away just in time here as we get towards the last 20.
Alamo's just played that absolutely beautifully. We're going to see the final kill come in, maybe. No, Stomping gets taken down. It is Alamo who gets the second of his round and also the final kill as well. But the way Alamo played that, So Levy just kept peeking that double door. And as I said, you've got the metal detectors. You know when he's coming, you don't need to do much. And that's exactly what Alamo did. He just went prone under the noise, under the cover of fire and bullets raining around. He goes prone and relies on the shotgun. Easy kill, round 1.
Well, let's take a listen to Dplus Kia's tactical timeout.
Mute on the side, okay? We'll just watch out the Capcan trap and the Liquid please push the side, okay? And keep thinking about the Oryx on the Secretary. Second floor, we can play Big Bang. And keep thinking about the Clash and Failure. If you guys want to play Big Bang, like check out the Spiral main stairs Failure, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's it. Yeah, let's go. Guys, we got this, guys.
Yeah. Pra mim fazer...
Falei.
Ele falou pra fazer Big Bang, né?
É.
Pra mim fazer um 3-1, mano.
Fazer um 3-1 com você embaixo? Tá ligado?
Não. Comigo na LAN, sim. Só que aí que tá, tipo... Eu vou abrir a LAN e você desce o... Não ajuda o Gal, mano. Desce o... Bota o Sarjab lá e...
That answers a very interesting question that I had yesterday, actually, because PGH, obviously Korean, communicates in English with the guys. They all speak English as well, but in-game themselves, they talk in Portuguese. And one worry I have about that is obviously PGH can't hear much about what they're talking about when things aren't going so well in the communications department. All he can really offer tips on is something a bit more tactical, like he'd done just then. And really, it was more about warnings of what they could see coming out of G2, whether it's a Clash, an Oryx, whatever. That's what they're being mindful of, and yeah, just an interesting one to observe about Dplus Kia.
Feels like, and I mean, I think to a degree it is, you know, the way Dplus Kia play a lot of the time. We don't kind of see them jumping up and down and shouting, but the energy just seems a little bit down for a team that's 6-4 on their own map. They're in this. They've had some good rounds. They're playing a very good G2 who are, you know, playing pretty well today. They might not be playing the best Siege we've seen out of them in stage 2, but that's difficult because they've set such a high bar. But they are playing very, very well. And, you know, Dplus Kia, heads held high, should be going into this. And it just feels like maybe the energy's a little bit down. I hope that they're not kind of already defeating themselves.
100%, yeah. It's only a couple of rounds they're behind. Yeah, you've got to fight through overtime, but you're within striking distance. It's perfectly doable. You won your first 2 attacks. Not for Halamal popping off in the previous with the 3. And of course, the prior one downstairs in Lockers being a bit of a shutout by G2. Could have been a much closer affair, but they're going to try and make Tim his Glaz work again. This time, they're also rolling the Sens along for this top floor to make it just a little bit easier to get in on the rappel.
Yep, a lot of droning going on, just trying to feel out that defense, see exactly what's what. We have an early attempt from Levy.
Stomping.
Just trying to put pressure onto Stomping. He's going to move himself back out of stock as a flashbang comes in. again, you know, I often talk about that utility, and I think in that, I like to see them followed in. I like, you know, if you're going to full white somebody's streak, get in there and challenge them. But I think it was right, obviously, not to do that in that case. It was more about forcing Stomping out so that they could get that breach that they've just done. Because if he's in there, they can't do that because he's just going to shoot it out. Man. So that is, you know, good. It prevents him playing up onto that shield. He's got to be extra careful now. So I like that passage of play from Dplus Kia. They're also going to get the wall open into sight. But the age-old top floor question, Des, what are they going to do about Janitor?
More than just Janitor at this point, Tim. It's a bit of everything, to be honest with you. Stomping playing really aggressively when he was first inside of Logi. Has now, of course, stepped back and is playing around the shield instead. But he just keeps on putting his keepers on. And there's been a lot of bullets having to be burnt by Nears, sorry, not Nears, by Levy, just to get things through. But the plant is going down, Tim. All 5 players, all 10 players are still alive, in fact. Bit of shit damage onto Falls, but nowhere near enough. It's a 5v4, and the plant's down.
Fantastic from Dplus Kia. They had the plan in place. They sent in the Sense gadgets, they used the smoke, and they nullified the impact that Alamau could have from Janitor. He opened one of the mirror windows, tried to do something about the plant, but couldn't. Manages to find a kill onto Mitty, but the problem they've got is that Dplus Kia are out on the windows. Jumping out is not too much of a choice anymore because you're likely to lose the fight. But if you've got so many left alive inside, you can get away with it. They needed Doki to get that final kill, though. Stomping tries to stick it. He's baked him in. He's got the kill. He's done it again, Des. Will nothing stop this man on his rise to the top of Siege?
Piss off, Zach. I've seen enough of this the last 2 days now. This is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. A slight misplay, admittedly, a panic on the other side. But those are the kind of plays that G2 keep on making. And so far, it's keeping them pretty well in this competition, Tim.
Another rush of blood, I think, for Dplus Kia there, challenging on the window when they didn't need to. It's always difficult. You don't just want to watch that diffuser be disabled, but Stompin baited it perfectly.
Him and Doki, 14 kills apiece. We'll call that one a draw for now, Tim, and see how map 2 goes after the short break.
A great start for the series for G2 as they take their opponent's map pick. Bank goes their way. And what a game we have seen. So entertaining, so many crazy moments from these individual players. And I guess mostly we have to highlight 2 players on the side of G2. It's gotta be Doki, it's gotta be Stompin.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about Stompin a lot, but particularly if I just pick up the first point on Doki, I thought he was sensational today. You know, he's been a little bit up and down. I think he's allowed the inconsistency of his personal play to creep in. We've seen it have inconsistency in G2's play, but both Stompin and Doki today were phenomenal for their teams.
These guys are standing on business. We were mentioning before the match, G2 had 2 win conditions. The first one, the individual prowess. The second one, the calls of Alemao. I'm still not sure of the second one yet, but the first one definitely is there, and we can see that with Doki and Stompin both carrying the team with some incredible shots. And honestly,
look at that.
Another wall bang. I mean, that's so...
goes again through
check him PC, please.
Yeah.
I think what I liked about it most is a lot of these engagements is they were the right engagements to take. They're not caught waddling, they're not caught loitering, they're not caught just being absent. It's absolutely the right play at the right time. Both of these guys stepping up for G2. They live together, but you know how important they are for this team, both of them in their individual roles.
Yes, the brotherhood really coming to show here now. And look at the cost as well on the Doki, 91% for this game. Just absolutely incredible from these 2 players. What we're witnessing here. And I don't know if you guys, do you hear that?
Oh, I can hear it now.
Do you hear it?
Oh.
Do you hear it?
Max Verstappen.
Max Verstappen.
This was put on socials by Fed. Thank you so much. A beautiful
This has
piece
become
of
a thing.
art,
I've
I
seen
guess.
multiple pictures of Max Verstappen.
Yeah, I respect it. It makes my Dutch heart very happy.
Yeah, and you know how I knew he was the guy? I knew it was him, the king of the aura. After that last round,
it was
that
crazy.
last round. Please, let's see that last round. That moment where they're retaking. That is one of the only times that I see a CEO on bank plant that is successfully won by the defenders.
Genius,
what a
by the way.
retake!
Keep a barrier.
And then bam, bam, and you're gone.
Yeah.
That's Max Verstappen for you.
Yeah, this all of us going crazy in the green room as we're watching it, jumping up and down, screaming. It's insane.
The G2 support staff didn't think they were winning this round. They won. We saw them running to go see the players because they didn't think they were going to win that round. Honestly, you know, it was a good game from G2. Again, backing it up on bank as well yesterday. They lost the game yesterday up against BDS, but it is a map that they love to play. Yes, it wasn't a directly comfortable victory. It wasn't like a 7-2, 7-1, which it looked like it could have been. But for G2, solid performance. Get the job done on your opponent's map pick and then get into your own.
And for Dplus, I think they were impressive in a certain way. I think they were fighting really well. I thought that they were in control actually on more rounds, and they deserve technically more rounds if you think about it. If it wasn't for some incredible individual gunfights won on the side of G2, I think we would have went to overtime, and I don't know who would have made it. Now on Nighthaven Labs, G2 is feeling comfortable. I feel like this is their home turf, right? Like Jack said, these guys, they've won it every single time except for that one grand final at EWC, and even that one. That was extremely close against the prime Team Secret.
True. And I feel like I'm going to channel a lot of G2 fans' energy here right now because we're seeing this first map. It's going great, and I want to believe it. But I'm not sure if we can. Of course, Nighthaven, you know, it is G2's map pick. That is the positive thing that we're going into this one here, though. But there's a chance, certainly, for Dplus to save themselves from elimination of the tournament.
Yeah, I think so. I think the one thing for Dplus is there's a chance. There is always a chance, and you know we know G2 can be inconsistent. But I think for Dplus there are certain aspects that they need to improve on. You know, their defense, particularly coming into today, they had the lowest defense win rate in the tournament. In fact, it's probably the lowest of any tournament we've seen in a long time. They've struggled. That's the first thing. They'll be starting defense on Nighthaven that they need to improve on.
I need to see more of crowd control, especially starting defense. I need to see some traps, maybe some things to really disrupt the way that G2 is playing, and maybe something that gives them an edge in those gunfights.
Yeah, well, the question is, can Dplus keep their head above the water, or is the wave that G2 creates too strong to keep them up? We'll have a look at our next map, though. Nighthaven is up with Ace and Dez.
Thank you very much, Dan and the guys over on the desk. Yes, into map 2 we go. It's a tough time for Dplus Kia, Tim. As you've heard, you're coming into a brilliant map for G2. Is this where the road ends, or can they yet surprise us?
Well, you look at the overall map pick and you think if Dplus Kia can get something on bank, then maybe they can take this to 3. You know, maybe they can do something. I don't like the chances here on that, if I'm honest. I think G2, especially with the way that they've just played on bank, that's, I think, some of the best siege that we've seen from G2 through the tournament so far. I think
in most rounds.
Yeah, in most rounds, they look pretty solid.
But what I will say, and I always hate bringing the hype away, again, hero plays.
Hype! Hype!
5 of them, Tim, in one game. Multi-kills or 1v1s being one clutches.
But what you're going to say to me is that you can't rely on them. But it's stomping, and apparently you can rely on it.
I was thinking this. We've got Max for stomping. What would Doki be?
Well, you have to leave it with me. You can't just...
All right, I'll let that one simmer for a while. Yeah. You come back to when you're ready. And for now, we can talk about these bans. The Nomad being taken away by Dplus Kia, probably an interesting one that might tickle your fancies. Like, oh, that's an interesting one. Why that? Probably because you're going to see a little bit of roaming play coming out of Dplus Kia, trying to hit G2 on the flanks, disrupting their attempt at getting set up for an execute. We'll see. On the other side, it's a double electrification ban. And Tim, today we've already seen a team struggle to open walls, even when these two are banned away. I really hope we don't see the same struggle for G2 in getting walls opened up, especially IT, because that's where the problem's been. Have you cooked up an idea yet for Doki?
No, I haven't. I've been racing through sports stars in my head, and I can't get to a name that works with Doki.
Well, remember these names also Jack.
Well, yeah, but that gets,
that
gets a little bit easy then, doesn't it? You know,
yeah, keep it hard for yourself.
Anybody called Jack.
All right. I think chat will beat you there. They'll come up with something creative.
I'm sure that they will do. They'll have my back. They always do. Round 1. We're going up to the top floor. It's going to be Dplus Kia on the defense. Having a look at the setup, I am immediately drawn to that clash. Where are we going to see Bullet playing, and how are G2 going to deal with it? Straight away, I look and I think they're going to deal with it 2 ways. Lyra on the Demos can play underneath and remove the ground from beneath the feet, get them moving around and put into bad positions. But mainly, you're going to have Doki on that Capitare. If he can save those asphyxiation bolts, put the fire around that clash, going to force them away from that shield.
We've got Doki 1 Kenobi.
Very good.
We've got Doki Ricardo, which I didn't quite really get on board with. We've got Little Baz James, that's a classic. Seen that one around quite a while.
Yep.
Doki 1 Kenobi, I think, feels about right.
I think that's probably
that is a winner for me.
That's the best.
We haven't got to stick just to F1. We can branch out from here.
He certainly had the high ground on Bank. Let's put it that way.
Very good, Tim. Very good.
You're welcome.
Almost impressed them. For now, focus out towards this north side of the map. I was going to say West End for a second, but they will push their way through towards Connector, down towards Electric, and we have seen teams on this map struggle a few times where they'll get control, really, of IT and inside a garage, but not really focus on Connector until a bit later in the round, because defenders can come and push aggressively unless you're sticking 2 or 3 players there, as Stompin is now learning. Going to get the run around a little bit by Bullet on this clash, being a little bit of a headache for him, so he'll have to take it easy while the rest of his team get their setup done and their preparation for the hits.
Yeah, Bullet's done a great job there of just preventing that early pressure coming on in through Connector, so G2 are kind of going to have to look elsewhere. Stompin's hit the pause button for the time being, and he's just waiting, I think, for this defense to be moved around. Lyra underneath is going to be part of doing that, spraying up through that floor. Not too much damage has been taken on the side of Dplus Kia. Levy and Nears does have a little bit, but nothing like Alamar, who nearly gets his head removed from his shoulders.
Yeah, again, we've got to be careful because G2 are putting pressure in from different parts of the map, as you've seen. Stomping, Alamar doing the same, but it's a little bit one-man army. However, Doki is just that, Tim. He is a one-man army. Gets rid of Mighty, gets rid of Nears, and now Sight's under a bit of pressure, but falls. He stands up strong. The heroes of last map, Doki and Stompin, both removed.
Dplus Kia desperately needing somebody to respond there, and they found it. Lyra, however, picking up Levy. Baz managing to find Falls, and this is the problem I think that Dplus Kia have had on Bank, and it continues here on Labs. They fight their way back into the rounds, but then G2 just elevate it. They just take it up another gear. They just hit them with more power, more pace, and they can't handle the extra little bit that G2 find, and the faces just say it all. Dplus Kia looking a bit defeated right now, Des.
It's hard when you've been battered like that in the first round. By the way, we got Lyra Croft for Lyra.
Very good.
We've got 4 out of 5. Alamar's now the only one missing something, so we'll wait for that suggestion. But some good names coming out, guys. I'm loving it. But yeah, great first round from G2. I was a little bit concerned, like I said early on, when they had it's the classic thing that we saw during our Skyscraper game earlier today, when we had players spread across the entire map trying to take a lot of solo control as they pushed on through. It was very easy to get pushed and swamped by the other side and just completely disrupt and break up the attack. What have you seen? Lionel Messi. Yes! That Halio 39, that is the one. Nice, I love that one. Lionel Messi. Oh, excellent. But yeah, good stuff from G2. Running the line a little bit there, I thought, in the first round, but not enough so that it was obviously a chance for Dplus Kia to fight back in. Good stuff. Onwards we go to the second round. Levy off on that Skopos looking to cause trouble. Reinforced hatch on the upstairs, suggesting you're going to see a couple of players hanging around up there and looking to waste G2's time, get them to push their way through the majority of top floor before they can even think about hitting the ground floor.
Objective is to defuse a bomb.
G2 having a strong half on the attack here. I think is all but going to end this game. So Dplus Kia, you really don't have too much time to get yourself back into this one, to square up your shoulders, to push your chest out and to make a fight of it. They're going to go to kitchen this time. I've spoken about this. We saw it in the last game. W7M won a great round on here by using that defensive position in behind the kitchen counter. You cannot deal with it from above. There is no vertical onto it. So G2 need to make sure that they're playing somebody on that kitchen window. We saw Wildcard fail to do that, and they were punished for it. So it's something that they need to be aware of here, G2.
Sure, it's again nothing to worry about as of yet. No one's obviously been picked off, but they're all stacked up on this window and ready and looking to explode in.
I like this.
Yeah, I mean, earlier on you didn't like it when no one's on the window. Tim, now it's 3 people because now we're in. Who cares about the FNATs? Alamau, this train don't stop. He's going nice and deep. They've got them all forced out of sight at this point, Tim. All he's got to do is give distraction. In from the back comes Doki. Gets 1, gets 2, gets a third. The stab in the back. A flawless round from G2 and Dplus Kia absolutely stunned.
Sometimes Doki is genuinely unplayable, and today is one of those days. It is the best word I can think to describe him. I remember saying years ago when we were watching him in, you know, the UK Premiership when he was first coming around, I said, you know, one of the qualities that I love about him, and it's a quality on defense, but I feel like that round is the same mentality. Doki is the sort of player that when he hears a barricade break, he will sprint towards it. He is desperate for the fight. You can see the confidence in his play when his confidence is up. And right now, he is absolutely lethal. And when he gets like that, he just becomes unplayable because he will just make plays like that one after another. He's 5-1 inside 2 rounds after being 14 kills on bank. Absolutely unreal so far, and powering G2 towards that final showdown, best of 3 tomorrow.
19-6 across the series. He is absolutely flying. I spoke about this back on map 1 though for Dplus Kia. It's hard with that previous side because obviously everyone was gathered up on the window. There's only so much you can do to disrupt them, but no C4s came flying on through. Everyone was stood outside of sight, and Alamau sucked up all this attention inside of sight. No one was there to be able to fight him, despite having FNATs to assist in fighting against anyone hopping in through that window. I said it back on the previous map for Dplus Kia, they've got to fight G2 in the early round. If you don't disrupt them, if you let them get around site with all 5 players, they're going to do stuff like that. They are going to overwhelm you. It's what they're excellent at, but I feel where they can sometimes slip down is relying on individual brilliance to get them through the early parts of the round and the scraps that they get into. So if you want to be able to upset them a bit, we've got to see more work being done in the first minute 30.
Yeah, Alamau just kind of ran through site shouting, "Come back, I want to shoot you!" But none of them wanted that interaction. We're going to see the Glass
Pre-fire it. Just pre-fire it.
We've seen that happen a couple of times today where the Glass has lost their life. Falls manages to take down Doki, but Stompen is there, as always, for the trade, backing up his buddy. Manages to keep it at 4 versus 4. Nobody's wanting to give Loira an opportunity, so you know what? He's just going to go walking on in and find it, Des. Manages to take down Mitty, and right now, Dplus Kia, they are between a rock and a hard place. And they're just being crushed by the sheer weight of this G2 team. They know one's down.
Come on!
Loira will not be stopped. 1v3 effectively, and that's the round over. It's 3-0. G2 showing why Nighthaven Labs is one of their favourite maps.
And a 3K for Lionel Messi. Doki in the previous round. Again, it keeps on building on these moments of brilliance from individuals. And as I've said throughout the tournament so far, and I've said many times in history, Tim, these multi-kills, these 1vx's, they're always really impressive. And of course, we love seeing them. We love casting them. But it often comes as a result of mistakes being made by the other side. And I feel we've just...
Yeah, they just let Loira walk in.
That's it. Like the fact that the deep smoke that he put down was brilliant, to be fair, as well, because it kept the Azami at bay. They'd be spraying very, very blindly and probably get shot through the smoke if they did try and peek it. But they just gave a bit too much room. We're in for a Dplus Kia timeout nice and early. Let's have a listen.
We killed the demons on screens today, right? Like, bro, guys, don't let them play so easily. Like, we need more contest. Like, so we don't play Garage. They play Garage super fast and we die. Bro, we need more contest. Okay?
Beleza. Vou testar as áreas, guys.
Not only the IT Garage, like, whatever. More contest. Don't let them play easily.
Então, guys, os caras estão comendo rápido, velho. Bem cheio de trap lá, velho. Pega Meluz, bota 4 Meluz no TI.
Sim, vamos fazer essa porra. Isso é boa.
É, vai ter que jogar de trap mesmo.
Bem, ó, se liga, ô Gal. Quem que joga do bomb aqui, nossa? É o Bullet?
Sou eu de mira.
O Bullet tá...
Eu jogo um pouco mais pra cima depois.
Então, viado, ele costuma abrir atrasado lá pra poder passar, tá?
I'd never claim to have knowledge on a coach's level, Tim, but it's the exact same thing we've been saying. They're offering no fight against G2. They're giving them the map. It's hard to do on some sites, granted, but there's just no resistance. And therefore, you're letting G2 do whatever the hell they please.
I am going to sympathise a little bit with Dplus Kia here and say that, yes, I think they are making some mistakes and I think they're leaving gaps. They're leaving gaps which G2 are more than happy to exploit, but I think the problem at the minute is there are so many fires for Dplus Kia to try and fight. There are so many concerns for them here on Nighthaven Labs of where they're going to be attacked and pressured by G2, that they're just being pulled from pillar to post. And that's why the gaps are opening up, because they are worried about 4 or 5 different avenues of attack, because they know that G2 right now are just at cruising speed and are going to run over them. So it's, you know, as soon as they hear something, as soon as something happens, it's like, yeah, we've got to go there and do it. And then G2 are coming at them from a different angle. And so I really do sympathise with them. I don't think that this is as much about Dplus Kia in many ways as it is about G2. You know, just being super comfortable on the map and aggressive and being able to run over them. Yeah, I just don't know. That there's certainly things that they could do to improve, but I don't think there's much they can do to control this G2 side.
Not when you're losing inside 25 seconds up on the roam out there, but it's exactly like PGH was saying. They're going super fast and you're just letting them. There's not really much you're doing to be able to fight up here. Alamau admittedly did go low, so there was an opportunity. They're almost trying to slow them down on sites itself, and with a couple of the Vulcan canisters on windows around the map, as we've seen, it's kind of ignored the fact, Tim, they can just run through the entirety of the top floor at breakneck speed and descend on you, which is what they're doing. Look, by the way, the triple mute gemmer setup they've got on the main breach wall, just to almost try and guarantee that it stays fully closed up.
It's going to have changes being made to the FNAT configuration laid out by Levy. He's going to have both of the cafeteria hole, and it makes absolutely no difference. The bait is beautiful. They trigger one, stomp and peeks from the other side, and that is another Dplus Kia member dead.
And they've really not had to use too much gadgetry yet here either, G2. They've got the Zero on side. They've, of course, got Stomping with the tracks they can make use of. But there's just been no real need. They're now into a 5v3, half a round still to play. So Dplus Kia at least succeeded in slowing the round down slightly. But dying like this certainly is not going to help the round go any slower, I'm afraid. A 5v2, and for G2, it still looks very, very pedestrian. It's almost too easy, Tim. A 5v1, a flawless round on the way, maybe no. Bullet gets that shut down, but he's dead from there. Doki collecting the final kill, and G2 carry on with winning ways.
Yeah, you can see it on the faces of Dplus Kia here. They're defeated.
They're done.
It's going to take some mammoth effort to get them back into this, and like I say, I feel for them. They've just come up against G2 on the wrong day, I think. G2, absolutely. But I love the way G2 are playing for each other as well. You know, we've spoken about the hero players, and I'm sure that we will, you know, focus on that long after today, some of those big moments that we've seen. But G2 are actually playing for each other really well here as well. That initial kill, we won't see it on this one, but the initial kill from Stompin, sorry, the second kill from Stompin, where he gets onto Levy on the Fenrir, just beautiful played. You know, you've got Fenrir in the corridor just spinning round on his heel because he doesn't know where the pressure's going to come from. And then Stompin steps out. Yeah, thank you very much. That's a nice and easy free kill for me. And the rest of his team had created that by pushing from the opposite side as him. They created that pinch. Just they're working together brilliantly as well. And I think a lot of these great individual moments, you know, are taking advantage of the chaos that the team is creating.
Well, it does feel like there's a bit too much of a climb for Dplus Kia to fight their way back in. I always say 2 halves to a game of Siege. They could be good on the attacking side, you don't know. But it feels like G2 are walking away with this from at least 5 rounds, if not all 6, unless something drastically changes here in round 5. It looks more the same. Still got the Deimos on side, and that Dokubi now joining up for the pairing that we speak about an awful lot. Very good at dealing with any kind of roaming, and maybe that's part of the read from G2 on the previous round is they did run into more Dplus Kia players off-site. They know that the call must have been from PGH. Guys, get out, challenge them, be willing to fight like we've seen an awful lot over the last couple of days. And so they found ways to try and deal with that with, again, the calls coming out, with the track coming on. They've got options to deal with any madness that Dplus Kia might bring to the table.
Control and storage will be the 5th site for Dplus Kia. Doki knows that there's somebody playing up on the catwalk, given the angle of the bullets that sprayed out of the window at his drone, so that will at least give him a little bit of information. Rotero drone's going to continue to rain on in from Stompin as he clears out that utility. Alamo manages to pick up Levy. 5 versus 4. There's an angle being held here by Lawyer as well. Ooh. Might get his just reward, but doesn't. Mitty very, very close to losing his life as well as the track comes in from Doki. With the way he's playing.
Oh, I love that.
That's just casual. It's so casual. It's not even funny. Doki just absolutely running over them. Stomping getting in on the party as well. G2 are going to be 5-0 up in a minute.
I've tried their very best here, Tim, but a plant's going down, as you're saying. This one looks to be an almost guaranteed flawless on that bullet. Gets another exit frag as he did in the prior round. May well find the one, and sure enough, he does. But he's tracked out. The fuser is down. Doki yet again gets the closing kill in the round. Pedestrian was how he described it, Tim. Pedestrian, it remains.
Like I said, that kill on
the Legion?
Yeah, on the Legion as the nade go, it's just so casual. It's just like you're not even in ranked. It's like you're just running around in a quick match and I'm just going to dump the nade off the frame, bang, 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 and I'm off onto the next one.
To not get caught by the nade, yeah.
Yeah, it's just unreal from Dort. We see it here. The confidence, I know he's got the track on him and it's just phenomenal stuff. Just, you know, he's playing without a care. He's just unshackled at the minute and he's so dangerous.
It's like a showdown on who blinks first there, because the Legion has to run away from the nade and can't really afford to just slowly step back, else he's dead. He was already running before the nade came out, so Fair was working his way backwards, which is why he had a chance to fight back. But Doki's just a bit different gravy today, Tim. He's 9-2 on this map, Stomping on 5-1. He has kind of fallen behind in that race. Doki's up to 23 kills, Stomping sat at 19. Between the two of them, it has been an unbelievable series, though, and a very, very dominant one that puts them in good stead going into tomorrow.
Yeah, that was... It was one of them moments where you feel like they knew what was coming. They knew what was coming as soon as that nade appeared. They knew what was coming, but they just couldn't react quickly enough because Doki was just an unstoppable force at that point. G2 5-0 then. Final opportunity for Dplus Kia to secure themselves a defensive round, but it looks like this race might be run. It looks like their major may be winding up. Their time in Munich coming to an end unless they can dig deeper than maybe they ever have before, because it's going to take something real special.
Might as well getting rid of the mirror. Almost for a second there being caught out. I did think he might get baited into it a little bit, but of course he gets to see the mirror window long before they can manage to see round the mirror window to catch out the Ash. So, step one done. Another one to focus on, IT. They had it open inside like 50 seconds last round, Tim. They're certainly not wasting time, making use of that Habana trick that we've seen many times over now to make one side soft, and then normally you roll through with, last round it was a Flores, but realistically can be anything. As long as it's softened up, then you can still push through. In this case, it's Stomping with the secondary to open it up and give them a route into IT.
Yeah, Blaz manages to hit the Hibana trick absolutely no problem. It is one that we've seen failed before, so much like the Mav, it's always an interesting one to watch. 2 out on catwalk at the minute. I'm going to have the mirror of Mitty just working his way back inside of sight. Nitro's going to be maybe given away for free here. No, he's holding on to it. He's waiting for some noise on that window. None's going to come because there's nobody there. Intel is good for G2 as well. They're getting the read on where those players are. They know there's still one on catwalk corner. They've got Doki on the Capitão, who will be able to deal with that. Doesn't have a clash to worry about this time around, so can help work into that position should they choose to. At the minute, a lot of the pressure is coming from the connector side from G2, though.
Pressure coming in from below. Stomping upstairs, gets the entry. Taking a lot of damage in the process, Tim, but still got a lot of Bs that he can deploy in towards site to enable his team to start their push on 4. Doki finally dealt with, but that is Laura's chance to spring on 4. Been sat on a drone for most of this round, waiting for that time, but has stepped in and made it happen. Did Mighty just spray down his own teammate a little bit there?
I think he might have done. I did wonder.
No, I think it was someone else. I think we're okay in that case.
Well, if he does manage to pick up Lyra, I think maybe it was onto Lyra. He's going to be downed afterwards, though, and that is going to leave us now 3 versus 2. Alamo and Blaz both taking quite a lot of damage, but Alamo does manage to pick up Bullet. It's all up to Mitty on the mirror. He goes for a little jump over the top rope, manages to catch Stomping with an elbow on the way down. Beautiful use of the shotty. He's going to get himself back reloaded. Can he continue to fight and win this battle? He falls foul to his own trick, does he? No! He manages to hit him with the knife on the way down!
Do you want to do the Batman thing again, Tim?
No. I don't.
Oh, it carries on. And
I honestly thought Alamau had got the kill over the top. I thought he'd used his own trick against him. But Levy gave him the... I don't know if it was a panic knife. I don't know if it was, you know, a clean reaction. But one way or another, he managed to get him. Beautiful stuff.
I had to go back and check, and yes, Mighty did spray at Levy on the doorway.
I thought he had.
They're probably just so scared because of how fast that half has been.
G2 are everywhere.
You just see something that looks like a human, you're like, quick, shoot it! Friendly, blue on blue. It does at least give them a bit of breathing room, Tim. Just the one. It's not a whole lot to work with. G2 could well close this out in the next couple, and we could have a very, very quick night. We could be done by 9 o'clock, Tim.
Crazy
a lot of our days have run until about midnight, sometimes even later with how long some of the games have gone, but we have had a couple of quick series when you look at it.
Yeah, can get a reasonable old man bedtime tonight.
That's true, it's true.
It's been 2 a.m. the last couple of nights.
Yeah, same. I mean, fair enough, Mighty started to make up for it.
Just watch this though, he comes over the top. Misses the shots and he manages it. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful stuff. Well played, Dplus Kia. They deserve that, right?
At least they get something this map to get excited about, because now they've got that hard ask of working their way through on the attacking side. G2 taking away the Ace and the Monty. Dplus Kia, Kaid and Bandit, a very, very common pairing. We spoke about it back in the first half because we had it there as well, but most teams seem to be taking away that pairing from the defenders just to make walls a little bit easier to chew on through. It's even been paired up with Maverick bands sometimes, but given it's available, that's exactly what Falls is going to jump onto, leaving the Thermite in the back pocket for now.
5 seconds left before insertion.
G2 start up on the top floor, bring along the clash. They are not making things easy for Dplus Kia, but more importantly, keep your eye on Doki on the pulse. Doki on the pulse. Where's he going to be at the minute? He's all the way down in the basement. Got a nitro in hand and a heartbeat scanner to boot. Something that Dplus Kia need to be aware of, but we have seen this a few times where attacking teams kind of just ignore it. And it's all down to the timing of the player. It's all down to the timing of the defensive player to hit that flank and to make sure that they have an impact. And honestly, quite often, we see them fail at doing that. So keep an eye on things from Doki. How much impact can he have in this round? Can he time it right? Or does he find himself with sight already lost and trying to battle his way back in?
We're very used to seeing this, aren't we, though, Tim? A Maverick on the wall and a C4 poised and ready to toss over. Can either go for as soon as the wall goes soft or try and catch underneath. May well try and go over the top. In fact, I think probably realising now it's a little bit late to give that one a go. It's been opened up entirely, so we'll step back and likely keep hold of that C4 for later in the round.
Yep, smart play there. Don't use your utility if you don't have to. Don't throw it away for nothing. You know, try and get as much value out of it as you can. And, you know, sometimes you've just got to accept, well, they've done a better job of that than we could do anything about. And that's the case there for Dplus Kia. We do hear the fire arrow going in, so the push towards taking Catwalk is going to begin. I think they will be able to, if they get aggressive here, they can move in and take that territory. I'm not sure if they've got a drone that will be telling them that or not, but here comes Doki, and that could be the danger. Where's he going to go? If he tries to move his way into Warehouse, if they allow him, it could be a real problem.
Yeah, it's kind of inviting them forward with his army. Loira bailing out of playing on Catwalk too soon as well. Very common to stay around there, but I think the fire of the Capital just kind of put the scare up in the spooks it in. And instead backs in towards sight. Doki finding the one and then rejoining his team back up through Aqua. So although it's only the one kill and it's not towards the main point of push, it's still damage done. A second one follows as Falls on the Maverick, disappears. A 5v3 for G2, still 60 seconds to go.
Yeah, I think that's fine from Doki on the pulse there. You know, sometimes, yeah, you want that massive impact from Aroma like that, but he played it well. Like I said, you don't want to be left out in the cold either. He took his opportunity, got a kill, got back to side. Perfect stuff. Didn't, you know, waste too much time or anything, but G2 run through that one. Flawless round. Get them final kills, wrap it up on the top floor, and they are now 6-1 up. 1 round away from a showdown tomorrow to see if they can qualify through to that knockout phase.
Doki did pop into all chat and say 7-0 GG. Probably because in his mind, they should have closed down Mighty far quicker in round 6, but couldn't quite get there. Very, very convincing round, though. Flawless, as you saw at the very, very end. Just well dealt with everything that was coming at them. From Doki hitting them on the flank to then reading that they were going to push Aqua, having 2 or 3 players all gathering together to deal with that. Dead easy and straightforward for G2. Maybe we're at a point in where teams start to consider not taking them to this map, because this will be EWC aside, and obviously any untracked tournaments to a side as well. 6 wins in a row over the last 6 months they'll have had on this map.
Yeah, they're very good. There's 2 things. They are good on Nighthaven Labs and continue to be so. But like I say, I feel like we are seeing more of the G2 that we saw, you know, through the regular stage of stage 2 before the playoffs. You know, they had a little bit of a dip towards the end of playoffs, and then it's been shaky for the first couple of days of the major. That's why they're in this, you know, they could have been eliminated today. That's why they're in this position. They're 1 and 2. But I feel like this is, you know, the best. You said yourself that Dorky had said that they were feeling locked in. They were feeling a little bit different today. And I think it's shown. They've played with some wild confidence today. It's been absolutely unreal to watch. You know, I won't go as far as masterclass, just simply because I think Dplus maybe haven't put up enough against them, you know, to make it that. But I think they could have beaten much better teams today as well.
We were saying the same about Wildcard earlier as well, right? Like I said, although it was very easy for us to focus on what was going wrong for their opponents, Wildcard did play an excellent game of Siege, really entertaining to watch, very enjoyable from start to finish, and play with a lot of confidence of a team that deserves to be in playoffs. It feels the same for G2, as you've sort of said. They're against weaker opposition that couldn't really perform to the standard required, but they still look damn good doing it.
Interestingly, Blaz is up on top floor on his own on the Clash. I mean, Clash doesn't need too much support anymore. Laura's only just moved up there, like literally only just now. It's been on first floor up until that point. Clash is, you know, a lot more self-sufficient now that she can put the shield down and kind of use it as a mobile mirror window, but still, you know, a big ask given that they've only got the secondary machine pistol to fight with. So definitely good to be having some support up there. Dplus Kia halfway through the rounders. Not really confidently, there's only one of them inside the map at the minute.
Yeah, it's not a lot really, is it? Stomping with the C4 coming out, not going to even tickle anyone on the other side.
Stop the boogie drone.
Does stop the boogie drone, absolutely. Which gives him a little more cover on above for now, and here we go. This is where you can see this whole top aqua being a bit of a threat. I've got to deal with 1 and 2. Oh, down the ground, but Levy's got the read onto him. And here we go. That's going to be the end of the hold upstairs. Both Blaz and Loira being taken down, almost finding a third for a second too, as I believe it was Doki sniffing around there for a moment. It's enough to keep Dplus Kia at bay. However, we're down to that last 60. They've got the top floor control they need, and they've got a 5v3.
Yeah, that was way better from Dplus Kia there. Just nice and explosive, getting on in, getting those kills, and they've got time. I was a little bit worried they were taking too long at the beginning of things. They didn't have anybody inside of the map, but they were just preparing themselves. They've sprung forward into action, and they've got what they needed. So 3 versus 5, it is all up to Doki, Stomping. Are they the only 2 you need? They're joined by Alamau as well, and they're looking to hold on. 30 seconds left to go, and Bullet manages to pick up Doki. Dplus Kia could be looking for a first successful attack, but Alamau starts the fight back.
Is there anyone there to trade off the back of that? It turns out not really. Ready for next engage downstairs. Great shot from Mighty. Instant headshot onto Alamau. And Stomping's got it all to do, Tim. Probably a little bit too much, dare I say. He's got verticals, players to his right, players behind him. Was never going to last very long. It is one thing that Dplus Kia have done well throughout the game, is win out those 1vx situations. When they are the X, they always ensure there's at least 2 players taking a challenge at the same time. It is still only 2-6. There is still a long hill to climb, but at least it looked okay.
The other problem for Dplus Kia, of course, is that was an off-site. That was control and storage. That was your third choice site. G2 have still got basement available. They're going to go down there now, I would imagine. Then they'll have top floor available again. You've still got much better sites that you've got to beat them on. But, you know, I often talk about site choice and site rotation, and I'm not sure why G2 have chosen to go there second rather than going down to basement. But I look at that and think, well, have you now given your opponents an opportunity? You've allowed Dplus Kia to get it. They haven't allowed it, but they've given an opportunity. They've gone in and got a round, and they start building a little bit of momentum. They've got a bit of confidence off it. Maybe they go and win basement, and all of a sudden they've got 3 rounds. It's 6-3, and they're reeling them back in. It's a long climb ahead of Dplus Kia. It's not to say that they're going to do it. Do I expect them to do it? No, not really. But, you know, I look at that from G2, and I think, you know, if you'd picked basement, could you just wrapped it up, just got it done here and now?
Very possibly. But they've got plenty of chances still to work through. It's not really a full rehost of going through now. It's only a few players connecting back into the lobby, and then we'll be able to resume. And Tim, we are going downstairs, so you will get your wish. Might not have been in the round that you wanted it, but you will still get to see it.
If Dplus Kia win it now, though, you look at it and think...
And you're like, all right, is it game on?
And then, when comebacks happen, there's usually a point that you can look at and think, that was where the tide turned. And I'm not saying it's going to be the case. I don't think it's going to be the case. G2 are probably going to win this on basement, and it's job done. But you look at those moments and think, is there a reason you went to the third choice site? Are you opening the door to give somebody, you know, a chance to turn the tide?
It's a classic thing where we then have a whole chat about that, or the analyst might, and you ask the team and they just go, oh, we just felt like it.
Yeah, we just felt like it.
There's no deep reason to it.
That's the point. That's the point. You know, to me, don't just go to the site that you feel like it. Go to the one that you're going to lock down, that's your best site, that you can get done. You know, get the job done, get it over with, get out of the server. Don't allow them at any round more than you need to.
I always think back to, I think it was like a little joke that I saw before, which was around English teachers at school will kind of say, oh, you know, and the author described these curtains as blue to reflect their depression and their feelings of angst and all the rest of it. And then you go and ask the author and they just go, I just like the colour blue.
Just like blue.
Just like the colour blue. It really ain't that deep a lot of the time. Often the simplest answer is the one. Now we're down in the basement, Tim, and we can see how things move on forwards. We've got a couple of players on the upstairs here. Shock Horror looking to score a little bit of trouble up there. Slow down the side of Dplus Kia. Nia's, of course, will be at the helm on that blitz, trying to clear it out, but he has not had a great map, Tim. He is 0-8. It's not looking good. He's gone far past being James Bond. He's taken it to a whole new film series all by himself. But they need to get something going in this round. They need him to have an impact if they're going to be able to best G2.
Yeah, it's going to be Stompin and Lyra who are up on the top floor at the minute. That's going to be the challenge ahead of Dplus Kia is going in. They cannot ignore them two players. There's no way they get away with going just straight down to site. There is a presence there as well. Doki, Blaz particularly are there and ready to defend if necessary. I do like the use of Zero. I think, again, he's another one that I would put in the bracket of being a little bit underutilised sometimes. Has the secondary hard breach, has a ton of cameras that he can use that also have the little shock, you know, the one-time shock zap as well that can clear out utility. I think there's a lot of value in Zero.
When he got the buff, we did see a few teams then start running him actually a bit more aggressively.
G2 have played him in this game.
Yeah,
as well,
yeah. Seen him on bank as well a couple of times. However, nice shot on towards Doki. Levy, the one to kick things off and get things moving on that, on the Deimos. Still all those tracks available to make use of to try and help Nia's out. For now, though, Dplus Kia have got the man advantage, which is what they were looking for, with half a round still to play. That is a lot of time to chew things through here, and they're starting to gather themselves up. As long as you don't get yourself caught out by Laura, who's out trying to keep you busy off towards Control Hallway, and this should be all right, but there'll still be one or two other G2 players looking to give a bit of challenge.
Still got Stompin up on the top floor, yet to make himself known. The Blitz is going to take a little bit of damage. Nia's there, just needs to be a little bit careful when he starts pushing forward now. There's no nitros left on the side of G2, so that's something at least. Lyra manages to pick up Bullet and G2.
He hits Nia's.
He does hit Nia's, but Mighty hits him harder. Takes him out of the round 4 versus 3. Dplus Kia finding their feet and keeping that man advantage.
They are, but G2, they aren't letting up, Tim. They're applying that pressure that you had the coach of Dplus Kia asking the team to show more of. It's being given back to them the other way too, as the final call of the Dockerby rings out here. Stompin, quite rightly, it's fair to assume that they'll be looking for him here to clear out one of the other roamers around the map. But like Parley was prior, he's very much stuck up on that top floor, isolated out, and Levy has removed him. 2 versus 4, surely one they can do. Blaz getting Mighty just as the flash goes off here, but can he hold on for another? Nia's going down. Tim, they're going to do it out here. Levy's going absolutely massive, and sure enough, he closes on a 3K, falls to get the last. They carry on, Tim. It's 6-3.
Yeah, another good round from Dplus Kia. Good intel and comms, I think you see there. They recognised where everybody was. They went in and dealt with them. They picked off the weak links, the ones who were isolated, who they were able to go and take fights with, and they got the job done. They used that blitz shield pretty well, and it was a little bit too much for G2. So going from 6-1, it's now 6-3, and they continue to claw their way back.
Do we believe that it's enough though, Tim? We've asked for 4 or 5 rounds in a row at this point to do it. There's still 3 more to go. Got to battle through every site choice that G2 can have, and I think we'll probably go back up to the top floor. Also taking the Thermite away, which will probably force the Maverick in these majority of these rounds now. It's doable. I mean, the Clash being offline certainly is going to remove one frustration from you, but maybe now Stompin finally does throw that C4 and get rid of the Maverick early.
What I will say is it'd be a really good thing for G2 if they just got it won now. They do not want to lose an entire rotation and find themselves at 6-4, because that is when it starts creeping in to your head, and you start, you know, that's when you start thinking, not like this. And it's difficult to push that. You know, great players can control that mental, they can control those thoughts, they can push them out of their mind, focus 1 round at a time, but there comes a point where they are going to continue to creep in, and I think this, you know, could be that point. You don't want to be on the wrong end of that seesaw.
Nope, you most certainly do not. Well, G2 are locking themselves in once again with the Azami and the Mirror, those 2 Architect operators, a bunch of jammers, smokes to slow things down. and the Fenrir, which has been very, very popular throughout this map. I think because of how many single doorways and windows that you have, of course, covers an area great. And there's a lot of more like riskier areas that you have to step into on this map it's worth covering on too. For example, you try and walk your way through in towards electric. Well, we've seen a number of times FNAT's placed on the defender side of the generator, makes it hard to swing around comfortably. We've seen them being able to impede players when they walk up catwalks. There's just various areas where it's very, very good for catching out bottlenecks and denying the attackers the ability to move forward at any particular pace. Levy my eyes on in this round though, on that Glaz. Again, we always speak about that high fantasy of Glaz and murdering everyone through loads and loads of smoke. They've only got the 4 smoke on side this time around compared to the 8 that we saw back on Bank. Will he have the impact required?
Just going to be holding that angle with the secondary. Levy has the opening kill in the last 2 rounds, and I'm sure he'd love to make that 3 in a row. Here goes the Maverick. They're just very conscious of the possibility of a C4 or any sort of challenge coming from inside of IT, whilst he gets this wall softened up. And there it goes, nice and safe. Dplus Kia have done a fantastic job of that. Got to hand it to them. They've never left themselves exposed. There's never been any danger to them whilst doing it. It's been a bit of a Maverick masterclass.
Cozy. He's working his way forward here. Could be 0 and 10 if this carries on. Tim, it would not be a map to remember for him. Not after how well things started back on Bank, let's not forget too. Pressure being applied. But as of yet, unable to move Lawyer. And you think with the ease at which G2 managed to push to this door last time around, they've let him get away there, Tim, with 3 or 4 of them all trying to bear down on him.
It's a missed opportunity from Levy, is that I don't feel like he was, you know, quite prepared to take those shots, and I know it was such a fleeting view, but those are the fine margins that we are working with at this sort of level of tournament, and it may well be that Dplus Kia come to rue that, but G2 have actually been forced back really well here. We can see Dplus Kia really mounting this pressure. They've got control of catwalk, they've got themselves in IT, they can push forward. The problem they've got is there's nothing coming from the backside. There is no blue stairs pressure, there is no connector pressure, and they might pay the price. Stomping does manage to use that nitro and use it effectively. Picks up Levy, that's the Glaz, but Bullet manages to find one of his own, takes down Loira 4v4.
Taking a few shots around the corner, hoping someone's in the smoke, but no. Glaz getting rid of Nears with his knife at the same time. 0 and 10 achieved him. All them breadsticks and donuts. He's got a bakery on the go, but Mighty's up. A 3 versus 2. Can the last 2 players of G2 hold on? Because Dplus Kia, they've got a chance to get it over the line.
Alamo and Doki. The last hopes for G2 to get this done here and now. They'll have a few more chances after it, but the Kiba barricade is going to be removed. Doki still has one to play behind, looks to make the challenge. Bullet is down. Alamo manages to get the kill, doesn't want to overcommit, but does. Matty manages to take him out. It's all up to Doki. He's had a huge game so far today. He's 11 and 5 here. He gets one. Can he hit the 1v2? Yes, he can! Full flash doesn't matter. Doki finds his man. He senses the position and takes him down. And G2 continue fighting here in Munich. Dplus Kia, their journey comes to an end.
It might not have been the cleanest final few rounds from G2, but overall I'd say a very convincing performance. A few things to tighten up admittedly coming into tomorrow, because that's what's going to matter. 3 best-of-3s left to determine our final 3 teams that make it to playoffs.
Yeah, really good performance from G2. I think their fans are going to be very happy to see them now picking up the pace. I've often said this about tournaments. Individual days don't matter that much, so long as you keep yourself in the tournament and find form at the right time. And it looks like G2 might be doing exactly that.
What always makes me nervous about them, Tim, and I've said it at so many tournaments prior, individually, they've looked brilliant today. And at moments as a team, they've also looked great. But if you come up against a big team tomorrow, they could be in for a world of hurt. Can't wait to see how it goes tomorrow, but for now, we'll throw it to a break. And when we come back, our desks are going to break it down and wrap up the show for you. See you in a few.